Listen, I'm a boomer. I don't have to take it from anybody. I've been living on debt and Social Security for over a decade. Why? Because I earned it on that cold planet up there. That's right. I did that. Me. Because I'm a baby boomer. I believe anything anyone ever tells me. And I have so much money and weird guilt that I'll just give it to Candace Owens because she's a black girl. And we all know those black girls, we need them on our side. And if we show those that we're nice to one of their own, they'll vote our guys in and we'll take down Pakistan. What have you done, millennial? Except just eating our scraps.
Hi guys, I'm beyond pleased to inform you all this week that we're diving right into the Woke AF exclusive footage of the next DC box office flop, AquaMan 2, where it seems that DC has gone completely overboard after pumping out a torrent of horrible films, pushing their studios further into the deep end.
I agree.
Yet, undeterred by fans showing their disdain for DC's lackluster storylines, the creative DC studio team has announced that they're ignoring 100% of any negative criticism, countless reviews, and have decided it's time to go full speed ahead, but this time sparing no expense up to the point of flooding the entire UNESCO World Heritage Site and ancient city of Venice. I know. Now, while you let that sink in, perhaps DC should come up for air, because the estimated budget that the studio will rain down on this new film is expected to cost into the billions. And that's only the tip of the iceberg. It seems larger than life after the first trailer, which just dropped. Roll it. In an unstable world, hell-bent on its own demise, corporate greed is king, while young and old voices are being silenced from stopping Earth's destruction. Raging fires engulf the planet as smoke blankets the earth. Drought, hardship, and cruelty is at an all-time high, causing famine and unrest. That has forced endless columns of refugees in every direction as resources run out at one place and are hoarded at another. Without answers and losing all hope, mankind is in need of a savior. For it is at this point that we find ourselves on an unavoidable collision course with the end of days, as reckless self-interest, corruption, and calamity are the new norm. But who will dive in to save mankind from its greatest threat? Itself, AquaMan. You know, this doesn't sound too far-fetched. Back to the scene where it seems AquaMan is coming to the rescue of the ancient city of Venice to save something or someone. And of course, if you haven't figured out by now, that was all bull. And what you're looking at isn't a new action film. This isn't a multi-million-dollar soundstage, and no, the person swimming there isn't a magical trident carrying Jason Momoa, who, yes, we've heard more than enough times, you think is more sexy than John Legend. In other words, folks, this is our world. Our reality. And this is exactly what Venice, the city of romance, history, and once a seat of power for centuries, has been reduced to as sea levels rise, fires burn, fossil fuels are extracted, and the love of money is plunging our planet into disarray. And one must ask, who and what is pushing our planet to the brink? We are. Or at least our elected conservative boomer officials.
What about the argument?
You wouldn't have the fires.
What about the argument it's climate change, that it's drier, it's hotter, and that that's contributing to it?
Maybe it contributes a little bit. The big problem we have is management.
Of national attention, in case we have forgotten, because we keep hearing that 2014 has been the warmest year on record, I asked the chair, you know what this is? It's a snowball. And that's just from outside here. So it's very, very cold out, very unseasonal. So here, Mr. President, catch this.
Modeling the climate is an extremely complicated science that is never exact.
Because Donald Trump is so reasonable and so full of common sense.
All of this with the global warming and that, and a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax.
What are you trying to achieve that the Obama plan didn't do?
Drill, baby, drill, and drill now.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
That the war on coal is over.
You'd have to show me the scientists because they have a very big political agenda. Political agenda. Political agenda. That's it.
Well, some of them are elected. I know what you're thinking. Those are all the United States of America's regressive, conservative, boomer idiots destroying the world, and not the good ones from Europe with its windmills, healthy addiction to recycling, and its coal and nuclear power plants being shuttered for sustainable, green, clean energy, slowly restoring its vast lands to their original glory and beautiful natural harmony. At least, till you see the riots on the Champs-Élysées, confirming not everyone in Europe or the greater world is on board with this whole stop climate change now mindset. As we speak, the United States, Australia, Brazil, Russia, and half of Africa are on fire. But what do their elected boomer officials say about it?
We kept the invitations open to the leaders of the Conservative Party and the Brexit Party.
Scum! 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 Scum!
They have not taken up their places yet. Instead, a reminder, the ice caps are melting as politicians around the globe fail to cut greenhouse gas emissions in time to stop rising temperatures.
So just on climate change, you say it's a global effort, but Australia ranks last in the world on climate policy in a new global index. Isn't that an indictment of your government's response?
No, I completely reject that report. We don't accept that.
You don't accept the report?
No,
we're last
I
in
don't.
the world?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't think it's credible.
It's not credible?
No.
A questão da queimada na Amazônia, que no meu entender pode ter sido potencializada por ONGs, porque eles perderam grana, tá? Qual a intenção? Trazer problemas para o Brasil.
Я вас разочарую, но я не разделяю общих восторгов по поводу выступления Греты Тунберг. Вы знаете, то, что молодые люди, подростки, обращают внимание на острые проблемы сегодняшнего дня, в том числе на проблемы экологии, это правильно и это очень хорошо. И их, безусловно, нужно поддержать. Но когда детей и подростков кто-то использует в своих интересах, это достойно только осуждения.
Reminding us that when you look closer at nearly any region in the world, it can't only be the people at the top, or just the people at the bottom, pushing against climate change. But everyone must show leadership from prime ministers to presidents, chancellors, and popes, down to small city councils like the one in Venice, including its hopefully educated citizens, as ultimately they're the ones that endorse a candidate, their philosophy, and vision, regardless of the outcome, whether good or very, very bad. Which brings us back to the ancient city of Venice, whose leadership sadly showed an epic lack of forward thinking by nullifying the writing on the wall till they were knee-deep in it. And perhaps one of the greatest showings of situational irony, as the government of Venice voted against amendments that would address climate change, and less than 2 minutes later, found themselves evacuating the government palace they were voting in because the climate changed their plans. Better yet, let's hear how things were flushed out through the accounts of one Andrea Zanoni. Last night in the Regional Council, we were discussing the stability law relating to the regional budget of 2020, when water, around 22, started. For the first time in the history of the Regional Council of Veneto, flooding the counseling hall, with the outcome being a stampede of all councilors, officials, employees of the legislative service, and many others. Some might think that this was not predictable. It is not so. The numerous and precise bulletins on the high water, and above all, the sirens in action told us one thing: evacuate Palazzo Ferrofini. But instead, the president of the council and the representatives of the league wanted to continue indefinitely, creating a series of additional inconveniences, including the serious difficulties of the operators of water transport services, who have had to risk even dangerous maneuvers. In other words, everyone knew that there was danger ahead, but the people in power decided to say, F it. Back to Andrea's account. Meanwhile, the waters invaded the entire ground floor of the palazzo, flowing like a stream, The high tide, which yesterday reached 1 meter and 87 centimeters in Venice, is due, among other factors, to that of climate change, with the rise of seawater and the melting of glaciers due to global warming. But just wait, because what happens next in Andrea's account is nothing short of the dam breaking. Ironically, the counseling hall flooded 2 minutes after the majority lead, Brothers of Italy and Forza Italia parties rejected our amendments to fight climate change. There is no more meaningful image of water flooding classrooms, which makes the representatives of the Venetian people flee, to illustrate all the inconsistency and the political nullity of the current miserable administrative action of this Venetian government, led by Liga, Forza Italy, and the Brothers of Italy. Did you hear that? I think that there's something very important Andrea said that unfortunately has become all too common around the world as of late, and that was the destructive superpower of nullity. A draining and regressive energy employed by countless conservative boomer governments and overall regressive folk. But what does nullity mean? And how can someone be nullifying? Well, I'm glad you asked. Nullity, or to nullify. To make null, to void or invalidate. To make of no value or consequence. To counteract the force of effectiveness of fill in the blank. But unfortunately in real life, this is exactly how too many regressive conservative folk interact when confronted with science.
Look, scientists also have a political agenda.
Racism.
I mean, there you are, in front of a poster full of brown faces on the move, coming into Europe with a big banner headline saying breaking point. The only white face has been obscured by text. Many people took that as deeply offensive. And I ask you again, do you want to take this opportunity to say sorry?
Bigotry.
Fica meio assim, meio gayzinho, leva couro, ele muda o comportamento dele.
Sexism.
Já vai isso pra você que você não merece.
Olha, eu espero que não.
Dá, eu te dou outra. Dá, eu te dou outra. Dá, eu te dou outra. Dá, eu te dou outra.
Xenophobia.
You know, we didn't even mention Islam. We didn't even talk about some of those cultural issues.
And let's not forget climate change.
The global warming and that, and a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax. I mean, it's a money-making industry, okay?
Even as the city, state, or nation they govern sinks into the sea. Well, what's that? Breaking news is happening right now. We have just received word that a counter video was just released showing Luca Zaia, the president of Veneto, on the front lines helping residents at his own peril while the city was flooding. Well, this might go against everything we've been saying. Yep, go ahead and cue it up.
Gentlemen, it has been a privilege playing with you tonight.
Once more, Andrea's words. There is no more meaningful image of water flooding classroom, which makes the representatives of the Venetian people flee, to illustrate all the inconsistency and the political nullity of the current miserable administrative action of the Venetian government, led by the Liga, Forza Italia, and the Brothers of Italy. I agree. But the worst chapter I fear is yet to come, as it's been echoed by countless scientists. Let me rephrase that. I fear the worst chapter is yet to come, as it's been echoed by the vast majority of morally sound, respected, non-special interest, peer-reviewed, the world, inconvenient truth-telling, knowledge is power scientists. Yet, some politicians, village idiots, and special interest nihilists on near supervillain levels continue lobbying attacks against science while their own government issued wake up, danger is coming, evacuate sirens are being ignored. This regressive conservative boomer class and their peers, as we speak, are trying to nullify smoke that can be seen from space, void countless species being wiped out due to the loss of their habitat, nullify storms that are supposed to happen every 500 years, but now happen every 3. Say, it's of no consequence floods keep happening that aren't supposed to happen, that we should ignore glaciers disappearing, coral reefs bleaching, be skeptical of articles depicting mass extinction, beware of scientific proof that warming seas are making entire ecosystems unsustainable, rationalize record droughts on the rise, and daily first-hand accounts that centuries-old food chains are collapsing, making the most vulnerable and impoverished on our planet even worse. Did you hear something? And all the while, elected boomer regressive conservative leadership is continually nullifying the educated masses, scientists, educators, neighbors, children, students, and sadly victims of climate change that want this madness to stop, but know all too well there is no Justice League to save them. Just an army of conservative, regressive boomers that do things and say things like
global warming and that, and a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax. I mean, it's a money-making industry, okay?
While gleefully watching our planet perish. Our planet. But we don't have to let it happen. As a matter of fact, it's up to us to stop it. We must stand up. We must speak out. We must continue to protest, to march on fields, march wherever, to push against denial of science, to push our elected officials. And if they choose to void, counteract, or nullify our concerns, it's up to us to push and vote them out. In other words, folks, it is our time. And the first task at hand is cleaning house. So if you enjoy this video, it's time for you to make a difference. Be conscious of your environment, your friends, your government, and where you want the world to be. And with the right amount of effort, if we band together, we can turn this around. At least we allow Venice to be the first of many disasters that are the new norm. We know if we show enough effort, perhaps we could even save the boomers from themselves. Dare I say, it's time for a Justice League assembly. But better than that one. Join us, speak up, speak out, and speak often for the greater good rather than the here and now. Your voice is needed. Where the f*** is AquaMan when you need him? Well, that does it for this episode. Folks, make sure you check back for new content, as there will always be something new to talk about. And if you like, subscribe. 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 Regardless, I'm going to keep doing these. Good luck. God bless. Take care of one another, and peace.